Business and residents living in a 56 block area of Baltimore are being told to boil their water as a precaution. There are some serious issues taking place there with E. coli bacteria has been found in some of the water supply. Now, we've been covering these water issues. Last week, it was Jackson, Mississippi. It continues to impact them there. Now we're having the issue in Baltimore. Joining us right now is the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott. Mayor, glad to have you back on Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Glad to be back, Mr. Roland.
All right, so let's unpack this. I've heard some folks said, oh, my goodness, another major American city, largely African-American, having issues with water. So explain to us exactly what's happening in Baltimore as it relates to water in this 56 block area.
Yeah, thank you. And I think there's some, we understand, and of course, I am very cognizant of the issue, the crisis happening in Jackson and with my brother, Mayor Chakwe, but this is a little different. So all of this information with the E. coli for us, Roland, is self-reported. So we routinely here in Baltimore take proactive samples from 90 locations within our distribution coverage area, which really equates to 360 samples a month. On Friday, September 2nd, we tested several locations. DPW did, and 19 of those locations as identified on this map, on the map that you just showed up. On Saturday, we're notified of a possible positive test and immediately had the specimen retested for confirmation per emergency protocol. We also immediately began coordinating with agencies and the facilities in that impacted area. The most important thing is, again, when you see all of those green dots on the map, those are places that had negative test results for E. coli. Only that one red dot in that small block area is positive. And what is happening as a result of that, I opened our emergency operations center because this is an emergency situation. We have now went out yesterday after working with our state and our partners to retest 24 specimens that we collected through Monday evening, and we will provide that update. It takes 24 hours for those results to come in. You have to let it sit. And my Office of Emergency Management is leading the efforts around everything here, including water distribution to those who have been impacted by the E. coli and the contamination and are in that boiling water coverage area. That large area that you saw, we put out in an abundance of caution. And as of 6 p.m. today, we've already given out 172,000 bottles of water to individuals seeking such support. And that's not, and we're also taking it to senior facilities and high rises and things like that. We're going to be here. I'm going to be here. We're going to continue to monitor that. We're going to continue to have 3 water distribution sites in that area to make sure we're going to be making sure that we get it to people who can't get to us. But we are in a little bit of a different situation because we also know that our treatment facilities, right, all 3 of our water treatment plants, our plants are up to code. That water coming out of there does not have E. coli. That's tested every couple of hours to make sure that that's not happening. So we know it's hyper-located, and as we go through with these retests, we'll be able to go in and see, is it as a result of a water main break or some construction that introduced contaminants into the system? And we'll be taking the efforts needed to make sure that we get that out of the system so that we can provide the water that we know people deserve.
Do you have an estimate on how long this is going to be an issue?
Yeah, the testing is the key, Roland. I think the most important thing that your viewers can know is that, again, this is self-reported. We tested on the 2nd, got the results on the 3rd, retested on the 4th, and got that confirmation of that one positive test. And then we went back and retested all of them to make sure yesterday. And then we'll get those test results in tonight. And from there, we'll be able to then determine where we go, right? If we still have a positive test, if we have more positive, if we have more confirmed negatives in those locations, that we can talk about shortening that area and focusing in. So in the next few hours, as we go through the night and into the tomorrow morning, we'll have a much clearer picture as those results come in. And even though we took those tests yesterday, the way that these work through the scientists and those folks, that these things are only come back after 24 hours after that specimen is taken, which is why we have to await those results.
As we've looked at what happened in Jackson, we've talked to folks in other cities as well. And look, there are mayors across this country who are having to deal with this issue. We know what happened in Flint with their water crisis there. The mayor of New York City talked about a major development there in Brooklyn impacted by issues with their water. I mean, this is one of the most basic fundamental needs of residents. And so what are the conversations been like with you, your city council, but also your counterparts across the country when we talk about infrastructure and water?
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things, right? And I think this is why you hear mayors across the country be so excited about the president and his administration infrastructure, water infrastructure. And when you think about these cities, especially your legacy old cities, your Baltimore, D.C., Philly, New York, Chicago, you know this better than anyone, Roland. These systems and things were built hundreds of years ago with the assistance of the federal government. And we know that for many, many, many years, not having that support and that fixing has came all the way down to local governments that are already stretched thin. Having this now once in a lifetime chance to start to do that work, we're very grateful for a lot of the work that we've been able to do working with our congressional partners. We have the best congressional delegation in the United States Congress, and looking forward to going even further with that work that will also, in addition to making sure that people get the healthy water, the things that they need, all of the infrastructure, is also an opportunity for people in neighborhoods to get jobs and opportunity they need as well.
Well, look, it is certainly a significant issue. We are glad to see it is not as dire as it is there in Jackson. Folks have hit us saying, hey, if they want to offer help, how can they do so? What are you telling folks?
Yeah, they should just get in contact with the Mayor's Office of Emergency Management here in Baltimore, or they can find me on social media. It's very simple, at Mayor BM Scott, and we will get you connected to folks. We're very grateful for companies and organizations, Home Depot and others who have stepped up to help, and we want all the help that we can get to make sure that we're impacting our residents as they go through this very trying time.
All right, Mayor Brandon Scott, we surely appreciate it. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Can you believe the nerve of these Republicans? They only want to block progress for our community. They talk about cutting Medicare and Social Security. They played politics with veterans' health care. They voted against the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act and funding for our HBCUs, and against lowering prescription drug costs for our seniors. These Republicans keep trying hard to stand in the way, but President Biden, Vice President Harris, and Democrats won't let them. They are delivering for us. The Democratic National Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Check some money orders. Go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is RMartin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.